in our Old Covenant Bible reading out of the Septuagint. We are in Genesis chapter 21. It is written, "Now the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken, and she conceived and bare a son to Abraham in old age at the set time, of which the Lord had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah had bore to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised Isaac on the 8th day, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, The Lord hath made laughter for me, for whoever shall hear will rejoice with me. And she said, Who will tell Abraham that Sarah is suckling a child, that I have borne a son in my old age? And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great entertainment on the day his son Isaac was weaned. And when Sarah saw the son of Agar, the Egyptian, who was born to Abraham, sporting with her son Isaac, she said to Abraham, Send away this girl and her son, for the son of this girl shall not be heir with my son Isaac. And the thing appeared very hard in Abraham's view, touching his son. But God said to Abraham, Let not this respecting thy son and the respecting the handmaid appear hard in thy view. Hearken to the voice of Sarah, and whatever she may have said to thee. For in Isaac a seed shall be called for thee. Nevertheless, I will make the son of the handmaid a great nation, because he is thy seed. So Abraham arose early the next morning and took loaves and a skin full of water, and when he had put them on her shoulder, he gave the boy to Agar and sent her away. And she, departing, lost her way between the wilderness and the well of the oath. And the water in the skin being spent, she laid the boy under the first pine tree, and going away, sat down over against him at the distance of about a bow shot. For she said, I cannot behold the death of my son. So she sat over against him, and the lad wept with a loud voice. And God heard the voice of the lad from the place where he was. And an angel of God called to Agar out of heaven and said, What is the matter, Agar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad from the place where he is. Arise and take up the boy and support him with thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of spring water. So she went and filled the vessel with water and gave the boy drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became a bowman. Thus he dwelt in the wilderness, and his mother took for him a wife from Pharaoh of Egypt. Now it happened at that time that Amalek, accompanied with Okazath, his chamberlain, and Pekul, the general of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear to me by God that thou wilt not injure me, nor my seed, nor my name, but that according to the kindness with which I have treated thee, thou wilt deal with me and this land in which thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I swear. Then Abraham expostulated with Amalek, touching the wells of water which the servant of Amalek had taken. And Amalek said to him, I did not know that anyone had done this to thee. Thou didst not tell me, nor did I hear of it till this day. Then Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Amalek, and they both made a covenant. Now Abraham had set 7 ewe lambs, by themselves. And Amalek said to Abraham, what are these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? Upon which Abraham said, these 7 ewe lambs thou wilt take of me, that they may be a witness for me that I digged this well. For this cause he called the name of that place Well of the Oath, because both of them swore there and made a covenant at Well of the Oath. Then arose Amalek and Okozath, his chamberlain, and Pekul, the general of his army, and returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a field at the Well of Oath, and there invoked the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines. Chapter 22, it is written, and it came to pass after these things that God tried Abraham and said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Here I am. And he said, take thy son, thy dear son, whom thou hast loved, Isaac, and go to the hilly country and offer him up there for a whole homage offering on one of the hills, which I will point out to thee. So Abraham arose in the morning and saddled his ass and took with him 2 servants and his son Isaac. And having split wood for the whole homage offering, he set out on the journey and came to the place which God told him on the 3rd day. Now, when Abraham raised his eyes and saw the place at a distance, he said to his servants, stay here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder. And when we have worshipped, we will return to you. Then Abraham took the wood of the whole homage offering and laid it on his son Isaac. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife, and they both proceeded on together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, Father. And he said, what is the matter, son? And Isaac said, here is the fire and the wood. Where is the sheep for a whole homage offering? And Abraham said, my son, God will provide for himself a sheep for a whole homage offering. So they both proceeded on together and came to the place which God told him. And Abraham built there the altar and placed thereon the wood. And having bound his son Isaac, he laid him on the altar above the wood. And when Abraham stretched forth his hand to take hold of the knife to slay his son, the angel of the Lord called to him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here I am. And he said, lay not thy hand on the lad, nor do anything to him. For now I know that thou fearest God, and on my account hast not spared thy darling son. Then Abraham raised his eyes and looked, and lo, a ram caught by the horns in a sabek bush. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a homage offering instead of his son Isaac. And Abraham called the name of that place, the Lord hath seen, that at this day they might say on this mountain, the Lord hath seen. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Lord was seen. Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time out of heaven, saying, by myself I have sworn, saith the Lord, because thou hast done this, and for my sake hast not spared thy beloved son. With blessings I will indeed bless thee, and I will multiply the seashore, and thy seed shall inherit the cities. I said that totally wrong. Forgive me. Let me go back here. Because thou hast done this, and for my sake hast not spared thy beloved son. With blessings I will indeed bless thee, and I will multiply thy seed abundantly as the stars of heaven and as the sand on the seashore. And thy seed shall inherit the cities of their adversaries. And by the seed of thee, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because thou hast hearkened to my voice. Then Abraham returned to his servants, and they arose and came together to Well of the Oath. For Abraham lived at Well of the Oath. And after these things, it was told Abraham, saying, with regard to Milcah, both she also hath borne sons to thy brother Nachor, Uz the firstborn, and Box his brother, and Hamuel the father of the Syrians, and Chazad, and Azan, and Philids, and Jeldath, and Bethuel begot Rebekah. These were the 8 sons whom Milcah bore to Nachor, the brother of Abraham. And his concubine, whose name was Renah, bore also Tabak, and Gam, and Tochos, and Mocha. Chapter 23. It is written, now the life of Sarah was 127 years, and Sarah died in the city of Arbach, which is in the vale, the same in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah, and to make lamentation. And Abraham arose from before his dead, and spoke to the children of Chet, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner among you. Give me therefore the possession of a burying place among you, that I may bury my dead from before me. And the children of Chet answered and said to Abraham, nay, sir, rather hearken to us. Thou art a king from God among us. In the choice of our tombs, bury thy dead. For there is none of us who will deny thee his tomb to bury there thy dead. Then Abraham, standing up, made obeisance to the people of the land, the children of Chet. And Abraham spoke to them, saying, if it be your wish that I should bury this my dead out of my sight, hearken to me, and speak for me to Ephron, the son of Sar, and let him give me the double cave which belongeth to him, that which is in a part of his field. Let him give it to me for the full value of it among you, for a possession of a burying place. Now Ephron was sitting among the children of Chet, and Ephron the Chetite answered Abraham and said in the hearing of the children of Chet and of all coming into the city, attend, sir, and hearken to me. The field and the cave which is in it I give thee. In the presence of my fellow citizens I have given them to thee. Bury thy dead. And then Abraham had made omniscience before all the people of the land. He said to Ephron in the hearing of all the people of the land, as thou art here before me, hearken to me. Take of me in silver the value of the field, and I will bury my dead there. Whereupon Ephron answered Abraham, saying, nay, sir, I have indeed heard that the land is worth 400 didrachms of silver. But what can that be between me and thee? But bury thou thy dead. And Abraham hearkened to Ephron, and Abraham paid down to Ephron the money which he mentioned in the hearing of the children of Chet, 400 diagrams of silver, current among merchants. So the field of Ephron, including the double cave, which is situate before Mamre, the field and the cave in it, and all the wood in the field, and all within the bounds thereof round about, were conveyed to Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Chet, and of all who entered the city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the double cave of the field, which is over against Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the property of the field and the cave in it was confirmed to Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the children of Chet. Chapter 24, it is written, Now Abraham was old and far advanced in years, and the Lord had blessed him in all things. And Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his family, and who was ruler over all that he had, put thy hand under my thigh, and let me cause thee to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou wilt not take a wife for my son Isaac out of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but that thou wilt go to the land where I was born, and to my tribe, and take thence a wife for my son Isaac. And the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not be willing to come with me to this land. Shall I take back thy son to the land from which thou camest? Whereupon Abraham said to him, beware that thou take not back my son thither. The Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my nativity, who spoke to me and who sware to me, saying, to thee I will give this land and to thy seed. He will send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take thence a wife for my son. But if the woman will not come with thee into this land, thou shalt be absolved from this my oath, save that thou must not take my son back thither. Then the servant put his hand under his master Abraham's thigh, and swore to him respecting this matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and of all the goods of his master which were in his charge, and arose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made his camel lie down without the city by the well of water in the evening, when the women come out to draw water, and said, O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, prosper the way before me this day, and shew thy kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, I stand by this well of water, and the daughters of the inhabitants of the city will come out to draw water. Now let the virgin to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, that I may drink, and who shall say, drink thou, and I will give water also to thy camels till they have all done drinking. Let her be the woman whom thou hast provided for thy servant Isaac. And by this I shall know that thou hast dealt mercifully with my master Abraham. And before he had finished his mental speech, so he was praying in his mind, lo, Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. Now the damsel was of a very beautiful countenance, and was a virgin. No man had known her. So when she had gone down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up, the servant ran to meet her and said, let me drink a little water out of thy pitcher. Upon which she said, drink, my lord, and hastened to let down the pitcher on her arm and let him drink till he was satisfied. Then she said, I will draw water for thy camels also until they have all drunk. And she hastened and emptied the pitcher into the watering trough and ran to the well to draw more and drew water for all the camels. And the man observed her attentively and held his peace, that he might know whether the Lord had prospered his journey or not. And when all the camels had done drinking, the man took earrings of gold of about a dirham weight, and a pair of bracelets for her hands, the weight of which was 10 pieces of gold. And he asked her, saying, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, is there room at thy father's house for us to lodge? And she said, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. Moreover, she said to him, we have plenty of straw and provender and room to lie in. Then the man, being satisfied, worshipped the Lord and said, blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who hath not withdrawn his kindness and his truth from my master. The Lord hath indeed given me a prosperous journey to the house of my master's brother. Upon this, the damsel ran to her mother's house and told all these things. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran out to the man at the well. When he saw the earrings and bracelets in his sister's hands, and heard all the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man to me. And he went to the man who was standing by his camels at the well, and said to him, Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. Why hast thou tarried without? I have the house ready, and a place for the camels. So the man went in to the family, and Laban unsaddled the camels, and gave straw and provender to the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the feet of the men who were with him, and set bread before them to eat. But the man said, I cannot eat till I have told my business. And Laban said, Speak. Thereupon the man said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord indeed hath blessed my master exceedingly, so that he is become great. He hath given me flocks and herds and silver and gold, men servants and maidservants, camels and asses. And Sarah, the wife of my master, hath borne one son to my master, whom he was old, when he was old. And he hath given him all that belonged to him. And my master made me swear, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife for my son from among the daughters of the Canaanites, to whose land I sojourn, but thou shalt go to the house of my father and to my tribe, and take thence a wife for my son. Whereupon I said to my master, Perhaps the woman will not come with me. And he said to me, The Lord God, to whom I have been well-pleasing in his sight, will send his angel with thee, and make thy journey prosperous, and thou shalt take a wife for my son from my tribe and from my father's house. On this condition only thou shalt be absolved from my curse when thou hast gone to my tribe. If they will not give thee, then shalt thou be clear from my oath. Now, when I came today to the well, I said, O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if thou prosperest the journey in which I am now engaged, behold, I have stopped at this well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Let the virgin to whom I shall say, Let me drink a little water out of thy pitcher, and who shall say to me, Drink thou, and I will draw water for thy camels, let her be the wife whom the Lord hath provided for his servant Isaac. And by this I shall know that thou hast dealt mercifully with my master Abraham. And before I had finished this, my address and thought, straightway Rebekah came with the pitcher on her shoulder, and went down to the well and drew water. And I said to her, Let me drink. Upon which she speedily let down the pitcher on her arm, and said, Drink thou, and I will water thy camels. So I drank. And when she had watered the camels, I asked her, saying, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me. And she said, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Nachor, whom Milcah bore to him. Then I put the earrings on her and the bracelet on her hands, and being well pleased, I worshiped the Lord and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had prospered me in the right way to take the daughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, therefore, if you deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. If not, tell me, that I may turn either to the right or to the left. In reply to which Laban and Bethuel said, This matter hath proceeded from the Lord. We cannot gainsay thee, be it good or bad. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be the wife of thy master's son, as the Lord hath spoken. And when Abraham's servant heard these words, he worshipped the Lord on the ground. Then the servant brought out jewels of silver and gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah, and made presents to her brother and to her mother. And when he and the men who were with him had eaten and drank, they went to rest. And he arose early next morning and said, Dismiss me, that I may return to my master. But her brother and her mother said, let the damsel stay with us about 10 days, and then she shall go. And he said to them, do not detain me, seeing the Lord hath prospered my journey as far as it respecteth me. Send me away that I may go to my master. Whereupon they said, let us call our child and ask what she saith. So they called Rebekah and said to her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. Then they sent away their sister Rebekah and what belonged to her, and the servant of Abraham and his attendants. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, thou art our sister. Mayest thou become thousands of myriads, and may thy seed inherit the cities of their enemies. Then arose Rebekah and her maids, and mounting the camels, they went with the man. And the servant took Rebekah and departed. Now Isaac had traveled through the wilderness to the well of vision and dwelt in the south country. And in the evening, Isaac went out into the plain to meditate. And raising his eyes, he saw camels coming. Rebekah also, having raised her eyes, saw Isaac and alighted from her camel. She said to the servant, what man is that coming in the plain to meet us? And the servant said, it is my master. Whereupon she took her veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all that he had done. And Isaac went to his mother's house and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. And Isaac was comforted for the loss of his mother Sarah. Chapter 25. It is written, now Abraham had taken another wife, whose name was Cheturah, and she bore to him Zimbram, and Jason, and Medal, and Madian, and Jazbak, and Josie, and Jasam begat Seba and Dedan. And the children of Dedan were Asurium, Laticium, and Lomium. And the children of Madiam were Gephar, Aphor, and Enoch, and Abidah, and Eldadah. All these were children of Cheturah. But Abraham gave to his son Isaac all his possessions. And to the children of his concubines, Abraham gave gifts and sent them while he was yet living towards the east, into the eastern country from his son Isaac. Now these were the years of the days of Abraham's life, which he lived 175 years. And Abraham, declining, died in a good old age, an old man and full of days, and he was added to his people. And his son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the double cave in the field of Ephraim, the son of Sar, the Chittite, which is over against Mamre, in the field and the cave which Abraham bought of the children of Chet. There they buried Abraham with Sarah, his wife. And after the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt at the well of vision. Now these are the generations of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Agar the Egyptian, Sarah's maid, bore to Abraham. And these are the names of the children of Ishmael, according to the names of his families. The firstborn of Ishmael was Neoboth, then Kedar, Nabadel, Masiam, Masma, Duma, Mas, Chodan, Thaman, Jitor, Nephis, and Kudma. These are the children of Ishmael, and these are their names in their tents and in their habitations, 12 chiefs of their respective nations. And these were the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he, declining, died and was added to his race. Now he inhabited the country from Evilat to Sour, which is in front of Egypt, all the way to the Assyrians. In front of all his brethren was his habitation. And these are the generations of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took to wife Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Syro, Mesopotamia, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for Rebekah his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord hearkened to him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled within her. And she said, If it is to be so with me, what doth this pertain? So she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 peoples shall be separated from thy belly. And the one people will excel the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, there were twins in her womb. And the firstborn came forth red, all over hairy, like a hide, and she called his name Esau. And after that came forth his brother, and his hand had hold of Esau's heel, and she called his name Jacob. Now Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah bore them, and when they grew up to be young men, Esau was a man skilled in hunting and fond of the field. But Jacob was a man of plain manners and lived at home. And Isaac loved Esau because his game was his food, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now, when Jacob was boiling pottage, Esau came from the field fainting. And Esau said to Jacob, Let me taste some of that red pottage, for I am fainting. For this cause his name was called Edom. And Jacob said to Esau, Give me this day in exchange thy rights of primogeniture. And Esau said, Lo, I am going to die. What then are these rights of primogeniture to me? And Jacob said to him, Swear now to me. So he swore to him. Thus were Esau's rights of primogeniture transferred to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil pottage. And when he had eaten and drunk, he arose and went away. Thus did Esau undervalue the rights of primogeniture. Birthright, I'm thinking that's what that means. How interesting is that? Jacob was, he was a little trickster, wasn't he? He shouldn't have done that, but that's not my business. That's just the way it happened. Let's continue. Chapter 26. It is written, Now there had been a famine in the land, besides the former famine, which happened in the time of Abraham. And Isaac went to Amalek, the king of the Philistines, to Gerar. For the Lord had appeared to him and said, Go not down into Egypt, but dwell in the land which I will tell thee. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee and bless thee. For to thee and to thy seed I will give all this land. And I will establish my oath which I swear to thy father Abraham, and multiply thy seed like the stars of heaven. And to thy seed I will give all this land, and by thy seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham thy father hearkened to my voice, and kept my ordinances, and my commandments, and my rules of rectitude, and my rights. And while Isaac dwelt at Gerar, the men of the place made inquiry respecting his wife Rebekah, and she said, She is my sister. For he was afraid to say, She is my wife, lest peradventure the men of that place should kill him for Rebekah's sake, for she was of a very beautiful countenance. However, he continued there a long time. For Amalek, king of the Gerarites, happening to look through a window, saw Isaac dallying with Rebekah his wife. Whereupon Amalek called Isaac and said to him, Certainly she is thy wife. Why then didst thou say, She is my sister? And Isaac said to him, Because I thought I might perhaps die for her. And Amalek said to him, Why hast thou dealt thus with us? In a little while some person of my family might have lain with thine wife, and I wouldst have brought guilt No. And thou wouldest have brought guilt upon us through ignorance. And Amalek gave a strict charge to all his people, saying, whoever toucheth this man or his wife shall be liable to death. And Isaac sowed in that land and got that year 100-fold of barley. And the Lord blessed him, and the man was exalted and prospered more and more till he became exceeding rich. And he had flocks and herds of cattle and many fields under cultivation. And the Philistines envied him, and all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the time of his father, the Philistines stopped up and filled them with the earth. And Amalek said to Isaac, depart from us, for thou art become far mightier than we. Upon this Isaac departed thence and took up his abode in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water, which the servants of his father Abraham had digged, and which the Philistines had stopped up after the death of his father Abraham. And he called them by the same names by which his father had named them. Isaac's servants also digged in the valley of Gerar and found there a well of spring water. But the shepherds of the Gerarites contended with Isaac's shepherds, saying, the water was theirs. So he called the name of that well Injustice, because they did him injustice. Then he removed thence and digged another well, and about this also they contended. So he called its name Enmity. And he removed thence and digged another well. And about this they did not contend. So he called the name of it Room Enough, saying, for now the Lord hath made room for us, though he hath increased us in the land. And he went up thence to Well of the Oath, and the Lord appeared to him that night and said, I am the God of thy father Abraham. Fear not, for I am with thee, and I will bless thee and multiply thy seed for the sake of thy father Abraham. So he built there an altar and invoked the name of the Lord and fixed his tent there. And while the servants of Isaac were digging a well there in the valley of Gerar, Amalek came to him from Gerar, accompanied with Ojasath, his chamberlain, and Pekul, the general of his army. And Isaac said to them, why are you come to me, seeing you have hated me and sent me away from you? And they said, we saw plainly that the Lord is with thee. Therefore we said, let there be an oath between us and thee, and we will make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt not do us an injury, as we have not hated thee, but used thee well and sent thee away in peace, and thou art now blessed of the Lord. Then he made an entertainment for them, and they ate and drank. And early next morning they arose and swore one to the other. And Isaac dismissed them, and they departed from him in peace. And it happened that on that very day the servants of Isaac came and told him of the well which they had been digging, and said, we have found water. So he called it Oath. For this cause they call the name of the city Well of Oath, even at this day. Now when Esau was 40 years old, he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beoch, the Chittite, and Basmath, the daughter of Elon, the Chittite, and they were at strife with Isaac and Rebekah. Very interesting. All right, that ends that for now. Hello, Mile High Commander. All right, keep your eyes on Jesus, brothers and sisters, and your nose in the book, which is the Word of God. And let us embed the Word of God upon the tablets of our hearts, so we will not sin against God or be deceived. I don't know about y'all, but I'm really enjoying reading this quite a bit. It seems to be opening up a lot more than I even realized. It's pretty cool. All right. I love you all. Bye-bye. Let me see.